Hi guys, HikGuru here. In today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to set up intrusion detection on HikVision NVRs. So firstly, if you've got your DVR or NVR's IP address to hand, you're going to want to type that into your search bar on Internet Explorer. So in my case it's 192.168.0.36. If you're unsure of how to find this, if you've got a screen plugged into your NVR, simply go onto the settings page and then network, and then it's labelled as IPv4 address. Once you've typed it in, this is the page that will show up. It then might ask you to install a plugin. It might not always show you on this screen. You might have to log in first and then something will come up showing please install plugin. So you're going to click on that link to install the plugin, and then below it says do you want to run or save web components. Click run, click yes, and then finish, and then at the bottom it says do you want to allow this plugin. Just click on allow, or preferably click on the arrow and click on allow for all websites. Right, so now let's log in. So username is normally admin, and then your password is whatever you set it to when you first installed it. Then click on login. Now let's head on over to configuration at the top. Now on the left hand side, let's go over to event. If the image stays grey like this and no camera's displaying, first of all let's go to local on the left hand side, and then in the encryption key area you want to type in your encryption code. This would have been set up when you configured the HikConnect. So mine is and then whilst we're on this screen, you want to enable rules, and let's also select auto start live view to yes and click save. So what rules will do is it'll display the zones on the live view screen so you can kind of see what's triggering and what's not, and then auto start live view is literally it will automatically start the live view when you click on live view. Now let's go back over to event. Obviously we don't want basic event, we want to go straight to smart event. Now let's click on intrusion detection. You can of course select which camera you want from this drop down menu up here. I've only got one camera for this demonstration. First things first, let's tick enable intrusion detection. Now let's draw the area. So I'm going to set it from bottom left, bottom right, near enough top right, and then straight down to around here. So it's got to have 4 points. The shapes are quadrilateral. Try to avoid areas that have got things moving, such as you can see on my screen, trees and bushes here, because obviously they might continuously trigger. Anywhere with a footpath, anywhere you think somebody's going to be, but excluding anything like washing lines as well, they're a common trigger. Once you've finished drawing the zone, let's click on stop drawing. On AccuSense cameras you've got what's called target detection. Not everybody will have this, so that will filter between different targets, so human only, or you could have human and vehicle detection, but for this I'm just going to have human. We've then got threshold, that's the amount of time in seconds the object's got to be within the perimeter before it triggers. So 0 would be the second somebody steps into my zone it'll trigger, or you could have it up to 10 seconds. I'm going to keep it at 0, seeing as this is an AccuSense camera. It's already very accurate at distinguishing between humans and objects like cats and squirrels. And then finally, sensitivity, 50 is your default. I'd probably stick with that. Obviously if it does trigger too much, maybe drop it down a bit and just see how it goes. It's something you're just going to have to play with really. And then let's just click on save for now. I'll come back to size filter later on. Again, not everyone's going to see that on this screen. You may need to log directly into the camera, which will be later on in this video. Next thing, let's go to linkage method. If you wanted it to trigger to your HikConnect app, you're going to want to tick notify surveillance center. So tick that, save. Always make sure in the bottom right corner it says save succeeded after you click save before you go on to another menu. And then just quickly, arming schedule. Obviously this means it's set to 24/7 trigger, but if you only wanted it at certain times, let's say at night time and early in the morning, you can do that. So you're just going to click on the bar that you want. It'll bring up a little box here. So this would be 0000, so that's midnight Monday morning. And then if I wanted it, let's say until 7 AM Monday morning, just type in 7 and save. And then I want it to come back on later on, so let's say 8 o'clock. You're just going to click and drag at the time you want it to start. I've not quite done it to 8, so let's click on the bar again and type it in manually, so 2000 until 24. So that's 8 PM Monday night until Tuesday morning, midnight. And let's say I wanted that for every day of the week, the exact same thing. We can just click on this copy button here in green, and then you can either choose which days you want or select all, and then OK, and then just save. So that will only trigger between the hours of midnight till 7 AM and then from 8 PM till midnight. So you won't have anything going off during the day. So now let's head on over to live view. So now you can see this blue zone is my trigger perimeter. So anything that walks into this area will trigger. Objects that enter the zone will have a green box surrounding them. As soon as the event is triggered, the entire blue zone will turn to red. So what I suggest doing now is going outside, preferably with somebody else going out for you, and just seeing what triggers and what doesn't trigger. See if there's any adjustments you might need to make to the zone, maybe, sensitivity, etc, etc. As you can see, my little helper here has got a green box surrounding him, and it literally triggered the event instantly as the threshold was set to 0. Make sure they just go in every area of the zone, coming in from different angles, just making sure it does trigger. If you're happy with the zone, let's just go to configuration. So here we've got your min target and max target. So that would be the minimum size target it has to be before it'll trigger. So anything smaller, for example, than this box will not trigger the event. And you've got maximum target, which I don't really bother with, to be fair. So anything larger than this size of object, it will not trigger. But again, some people might not see this on this screen. You might have to do what's called virtual host into the camera. However, if you're happy with just having it as it is and just playing around with your thresholds and sensitivity, you can stick with that. It's still perfectly acceptable. It'll still work fine as it is. So that's pretty much it. But let's say you did want to do the virtual host into the camera to set these up. If you don't have it on this screen, you're going to head to Network, then Advanced Settings, then go to Other at the top, and then just make sure Enable Virtual Host is ticked, and click Save. Wait for it to say Save Succeeded in the bottom right corner. There we go. Then head on over to System, down to Camera Management, then go to IP Camera, and then you're going to see a list of your different cameras that are connected to your NVR. Then we're going to go to Connect, it says here. You can see there's a link now. Now that Virtual Host is enabled, you're going to click on that, and that is a link directly to the camera's interface. So again, you're going to log in. This should be the same details as your NVR logins. Log in. Then it's literally the same interface as before. Back to configuration. And then back to event, smart event, intrusion detection. And then here you can see we've got max size and min size. In most of the older cameras, it'll be on this screen here. It won't be back on the original NVR screen, so you'll have to set it up on the camera itself. So min size, what I do is set it up slightly smaller than your average human, just in case you've got any dwarves breaking into your house. So there. So any cats or squirrels definitely are not going to be bigger than that. And then max size, you can either just leave it or you can set it up. Doesn't really matter. And then just make sure you click on save. And that's pretty much it. Let's close out of that. Go back to your live view on the NVR screen. Again, get somebody to go outside just to test it, make sure it's triggering okay. And then again at night time when it's pitch black, just do the same thing, just see what's triggering and what's not, because there's different environments, so different light levels, etc. Certain things might trigger more or less depending on the light level. So you might need to increase the sensitivity slightly, just so it picks up that bit better in the dark. But yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. If you've got any questions or need any help whatsoever, just let me know down in the comments below. And also, if you've got any suggestions for me to make any further videos, just let me know also, and we'll get them made for you. Cheers guys, you take care, bye bye.